we have actually built up a tech-driven solution that basically enables more of a scalable campaign execution or marketing execution, which is really impressive. So beginning from creative generation, promo generation, storefront management, our world-class engineering team basically built up an in-house tool that can help us radically improve the actual productivity of every aspect of managing this store. So I think that's fundamentally a big sort of a secret sauce we have here.
You're listening to E-commerce Fastlane, the podcast show to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company, powered by Shopify. Listen to real conversations with partners and subject matter experts as they share proven practical strategies, platforms, and the best Shopify apps to help you accelerate your business. The time is now for you to improve efficiencies, grow revenue, profit, and lifetime customer loyalty. Please welcome your host, startup founder and strategic advisor, Steve Hutt.
Today's show is sponsored by UPS Capital, the creators of the Insure Shield app for Shopify. Now, like all entrepreneurs and marketers, you work hard for your company's reputation, but quite often there are shipping setbacks that are really outside of your control. Like think about porch piracy or packages that are damaged in transit. And shipping really has become a critical part of the customer experience, and it's essential to protect against these sorts of risks. Insure Shield shipping insurance, which is powered by UPS Capital, is the exact solution that provides full coverage to Shopify brands, no matter the carrier. So if you ship with UPS, FedEx, or USPS, these shipments are fully covered. And the distinction here is that it's not carrier liability insurance, but it's rather shipping insurance. And Insure Shield offers that sort of peace of mind that your business can recover from, I call it the inevitable shipping issues that happen on a daily basis. And the great thing is that they have an easy to use portal for fast claim payments, and you get the full value of the goods plus the transportation fees. So that's great. It's all bundled together. They even have a brand new feature called the Consumer Elected, and it can even be further personalized for your exact business needs. How it works is consumers can elect to cover their purchases at checkout, and the merchants can then make a custom rule to cover the cost if the consumer passes on that insurance offer. So if an issue happens, UPS Capital helps take the pain out of the claims with online submission and easy visibility. Now, the Insure Shield app is available now in the Shopify App Store, or you can visit them at upscapital.com/Shopify app for more information on all the available coverage options. As a reminder, Insure Shield shipping insurance is offered through UPS Capital Insurance, Inc., and they are a licensed agent. Well, welcome back to E-commerce Fastlane. My name is Steve Hutt, success manager here from Shopify. And, with plenty of podcast choices for founders and marketers, in the Shopify and kind of direct-to-consumer space, I really do massively appreciate the fact that you're taking time today and listening to the show. I release new episodes. They come out twice weekly, and they're available from all of your favorite podcast apps like Apple, Spotify, and Google. And we're also streaming now on Amazon Music and on YouTube. So if you consume your podcast on those platforms, you might want to go check them out. To get the full value of today's episode, I highly recommend that you click through from whatever podcast app you're using and link on over to the show notes, because there you'll get the transcript, links, and a lot of resources and things that we're going to mention today, some case studies. It's really exciting. Today, my guest is Seijin Jung, who's the head of marketing for OpenStore, and that's at open.store. And they're an e-commerce startup, and what they do is they really help Shopify founders to sell their store quickly, or, and we'll learn about that today, or they can turn their store into a passive income. This is guaranteed to be an excellent conversation. There's going to be a ton of learnings. We've got an exclusive kind of listener-only bonus at the end. So I'd like to welcome Seijin to the show.
Really great to talk to you, Steve. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I know our time zone's a little different. You're in Miami. I'm in Vancouver. I'm doing the early morning hustle, getting this recorded today. And I appreciate you getting on the show. I know it's been challenging getting our calendars aligned, but it's so interesting what Open.store is doing. And I know we want to talk about the new Drive program that's available. I got a reach out from Jackie and Jack, and we were both inside the OpenStore company, and said, hey, you know what? We have this really good opportunity here, and we've got to share it out into the wild more. And me being so tight in the Shopify ecosystem, both on the apps and partner side, but also just the merchant side, I really kind of get it. And over the years, I've had great relationships and dealt with some really big brands, but I think there's been some challenges about, is there burnout that can happen with a brand, or do they get frustrated that maybe the growth is not really there anymore, or just there's other passions that come along. And I think that's where Open.Store and this new Drive program really comes into the mix. So I'd love to hear it in your own words. I kind of prefaced it a bit here at the intro, but I just would love to understand OpenStore as the company, and just on a high level first, some of the problems that you're solving for founders of Shopify powered stores.
Yeah, sure. OpenStore, in essence, is Shopify merchants' best friend, in my view. We buy and manage your stores. We currently operate more than 40 plus e-commerce brands, which means we operate the largest number of Shopify brands in the world, which is amazing. And if you're a Shopify store owner and you want to sell your store, we offer qualifying shop owners the easiest and quickest way to sell your Shopify store. And you get an offer for the business in 1 day, sell in 2 weeks, and fully move on in 3 months. There's no broker or legal fees, no surprises. Just an easy and quick option if you're ready to make an exit and move on to something else.
That's lovely. And then so that is on the kind of sell your store opportunities. That kind of how that works. So let's talk about the open store kind of Drive program, because I understand there's kind of a newly launched service. It's a little bit more of a managed service, I understand.
Yeah, totally. OpenStore Drive is a new offering that we introduced a couple of months ago. Already, a lot of the Shopify merchants have shown us awesome amount of interest in the program. Essentially a managed service for Shopify store owners that want to take a break from their store without actually selling it. So you basically pass on all the day-to-day operations of running your store to our team. We basically handle everything from advertising, customer service, storefront management, to inventory management and fulfillment in general. So we basically do everything for you. And while we manage your store, you'll get paid monthly passive income based on the projected performance of your store. In a way, we're so confident in our team that we take on all performance risk here, paying you a preset amount no matter what. And after the first year, you have the choice to continue with Drive, sell your store, or go back to running your store directly. So it's pretty much a no-brainer from my view. I previously owned my own Shopify store, and I've been telling myself over the past couple months that if I had this program back then, I would have totally taken this opportunity, because I can basically take a break and recharge, or even think about a new passion and still decide whether I want to continue or not after the first year. And how it works is just really straightforward. All you have to do is just check out open.store/drive, make the application. The next couple of days, we reach out back to you with the offer, and then we transition your store to our team over 60 days. And this process includes the transfer of inventory and more of a thoughtful knowledge sharing to our team of experts. And then we run your store for you, paying you every month. So basically, passive income generated from your store while you continue to maintain the ownership of the store.
What's so interesting about this too is that it really does allow you to leverage a lot of the strengths and marketing power that you guys already have, right? Running over 40 brands already, it almost appears like a no-brainer. We'll talk about the sweet spot of kind of like what size of a brand and how long should you have been in business before maybe you could fit under this Drive umbrella. But it seems interesting to me. I brought it up recently at a conference I was at, and I told, and these people are doing upwards of $1 to $2 million in annual revenue, and they're on their way to 5 million. I'm like, hey, do you actually love your business? They go, yeah, we really do. But the day-to-day minutia, sometimes maybe there's other opportunities that they want to explore. And I told them about the Drive program. They're like, it sounds so interesting that you guys can do the analysis of the profitability of the company and then where you believe the upside might lay. And then all of a sudden, hey, here's a passive check you're going to get every single month, and let OpenStore kind of manage it for you for the full year. Make a decision 1 year if you want to continue on with that similar thing, or a renegotiated new rate based on the upside that you guys have created over that year. It seems like it's almost like the renewal opportunity is great. Or the other option is like, hey, you ran it for a year. I got paid passive income. I tried something else. It may or may not have worked, but I get to pull back my store back to myself, and you get to leverage the upside of kind of what OpenStore did. So I'd like to talk about that, because that was one of the comments, guys. Wow, I could leverage some really great people for a year, make decent kind of passive income on it. They do all the work, but then I can choose in 1 year to go, wow, that's what you did. And then all of a sudden now they can continue taking it over based on the upside or the increased revenue and LTV that you guys have both generated for that business for the year. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So, like you just mentioned, running a Shopify store is really hard. Most of the Shopify founders, just like any other entrepreneurs out there, start their businesses out of their passion, whether it's a plastic free product or drones or fashion. And then they realize after a couple of years that running the business itself is way more than your pure passion for something, right? So you
Yeah, very true.
realize you basically need to print out all the shipping labels. You need to manage your cash flow. You need to manage your team. You need to stress about the customer acquisition and retention. It's a lot of work, and no wonder you'd reach a point of burnout at some point, and you would think that eventually, why am I even doing this? I thought I would be doing something I would be enjoying the most, but 90% of my time is pretty much all the stress and dealing with the daily operations and the weight of the actual business are just so heavy on them. So for them, it's essentially a great opportunity because you can literally take a break from the business that you have built and consider what you think would be the best option moving forward after the full year. You still have the opportunity to interact with us on a regular basis to get the performance updates and also basically get better understanding of the playbook that we implement in really basically revitalizing the business you have. And then off of those learnings, you can basically try to improve your business after the first year, or if you find a new opportunity or probably maybe enjoy your time in Maldives, enjoying the sun and beach, you'll probably
Yeah.
move on.
Yeah, I totally get it. So I think the listeners, I'd love for them to understand maybe the origin story about Open Store, because it's always fascinating to me how people come up with these sorts of concepts and how they're able to recruit all of the right talent all together. So are you able to kind of like share about how the original team members came together? I know you're fairly new in the brand, but you're not new in commerce on the marketing side. So maybe you can kind of share the original founding story and how all these pieces have all come together.
Yeah, sure. As you remember quite well, during the pandemic, the e-commerce boom basically resulted in a large number of entrepreneurs starting new stores. And again, like I said, now many of these store owners are feeling bogged down by the day-to-day responsibilities of their store. And that's where OpenStore comes in. OpenStore was founded in 2021 to literally give owners of Shopify stores freedom and flexibility from the weight of their businesses, whether that looks like fast liquidity or managed services. And I joined OpenStore about half a year ago, and it's been an awesome journey. And coming from my own experience of running a Shopify brand, like I told you, I'm just really excited to see OpenStore continue to grow fast and provide more freedom and opportunity for other Shopify merchants. And our team is actually growing really fast. We're a team of more than 120 people right now, headquartered in Miami. And the founding team is super impressive. The company itself is founded by Keith Raboy, who's probably the most experienced operator coming from Silicon Valley, working with like all the well-known consumer brands like Airbnb, DoorDash, Square, you name it. And then off of his strong insights about e-commerce and business in general, he decided to start the company here in Miami, and he built an awesome team over here. I'm actually super impressed by the talent density over here and the caliber of people that we have built over here. But that said, we're still a young company. We're still learning quite a ton. But Open Store Tribe is one of the new offerings that we're proudly providing to all the Shopify merchants over here. Initially, I thought this could be too good to be true, coming from my own Shopify management experience. But then when I realized how we operate these brands, how we continue to leverage the insights that we have accumulated after working with so many Shopify merchants so far, it totally makes sense. And also from founder standpoint, it's a great opportunity to, just take a step back and think about what the right next move is for them.
Yeah, that's lovely. Thanks for sharing that. I actually I follow Keith on LinkedIn, and yeah, he's got quite a storied background, and it's nice that he's able to leverage a lot of his experience. As you said, a great operator, and then now has started to amass a really great team, operators and marketers that really make all of this engine all work. And being a large brand that's managing multiple Shopify stores, I think there's merit in that too, because then you get this kind of cross domain strength of all different industries, from apparel to consumer electronics to food and beverage kind of supplement market. So it's so interesting that you have a depth and breadth of knowledge across all different verticals and internationally too, which is great. And so it's pretty cool. I noticed one thing when I went to the Drive page, this new landing page that's set up. I really love the slogan that's up here about, taking your time back, like transition everything to our experts in 60 days or less, and taking care of all the things you mentioned, the marketing, the advertising, customer service, fulfillment, the whole customer experience, inventory management, forecasting. There's a lot of things that, as you said, it can be challenging to really grow a business. Number one, to scale it is even more challenging because it takes a lot of human capital, a lot of kind of even these extra 1% tweaks in a business can really make a massive difference. The challenge is that, do you want to run a large team? Do you really have the brain power to do all the things that it means to run at scale at like 10 and 25 and $50 million? It's a whole different type of business. And so I'm glad that OpenStore has that opportunity. I've liked the passive income side of it where, it's a fair and very reasonable amount of money comes to you for doing nothing other than passing the reins over to your team. And I think that's pretty cool. And then in 12 months, kind of redigest it and say, okay, well, where are we at? And this has been great. And how's the business now? Then make some choices about the next steps of either fully selling it and or continuing on with the same program. One question I do have, though, and it was brought up while I was at that conference, was what's the sweet spot? In your opinion, who do you feel is the right fit for this OpenStore kind of Drive program?
In my view, I think it could be a great fit for any Shopify store owners out there, at least to even consider it, even have a chat with us, because we basically give you an opportunity that never really existed before. And traditionally, when you think about these Shopify merchants, you basically have two options when you think about the next steps after running the store for a couple of years of hard daily grind. One is to just continue to grind, see where you can go, continue to pour in resources and see if you can continue to grow the business, which is always a challenge for many of the entrepreneurs out there. Two is basically just shut it down, which can be a really painful decision, not only from a financial standpoint, but also from an emotional standpoint as well. It's pretty much your baby that you built and grew over the past couple of years. But just shutting it down completely is always painful. And you could have considered going through the brokers or trying to find the buyer. But traditionally, it's been really hard to come up with that option. But what OpenStore Drive does is basically it's your third option that you can consider for the first time. You may not be really ready to completely step away from your business at this point, probably because of the attachment you have and the special meaning it has in your life. Or you might be thinking about a different passion project that you have, but you don't really have a clear sense of what it's going to look like versus what you currently have built so far. So that said, if you can take a 12-month break while taking the full passive income from your store, the preset amount that is agreed upon from the moment that you accept the offer, you basically have the peace of mind, you get your time back, and you get the access to the world-class operators we have here at OpenStore. And you basically, have that opportunity to consider your next steps after the first 12 months. So we have minimum qualifications like Shopify merchants with at least 500K in net sales over the past 12 months or so. But we do open up the door to any Shopify merchants who are just genuinely interested in growing their businesses or even thinking about taking a break. And we love connecting with Shopify merchants in general. So if you run a Shopify store at this point, and if you're interested in learning more about how to grow your business or even think about the next steps, the open store tribe could be a great fit, but we would love to talk to you.
That's lovely. So somewhere around, well, at 500K, we're looking about 40,000 a month. So if you're at this kind of 10,000 a week in sales kind of thing, if that's kind of where you're at, it's probably a decent starting point where you've kind of figured a few things out, and then your team could certainly take over from there. So I think that's a fair spot to be at. And I think, for a brand and a brand founder, I think having, that kind of marketing experience, I think you have to kind of have that business and marketing experience, with a brand first as an operator to, feel that maybe you're passing over something of value. You're having a little bit of product market fit at 500,000 a year. How do we get that to $1 million, to $2 million, to $5 million? All of it is possible. One thing that was brought up when I was away too recently was this particular brand is a print-on-demand brand. So they don't physically own any products in their own warehouse. They are manufactured on demand, either 3D printing, traditional printing. They could be even like embroidering on apparel. There's all different kind of opportunities available on the print-on-demand, kind of a production-on-demand industry. Would that still qualify? They're on Shopify. They're connected to Shopify. They still select, Shop Pay as their accelerated checkout option. It's just being fulfilled by a local partner on the ground in the country where the order is being created and shipped to. Would that still qualify as a Shopify business that the Drive program would consider taking on?
Yeah, totally. As long as you're based in the US and you're on the Shopify platform, you would totally qualify. And we would welcome any merchants with a similar business model. We're more than happy to talk to them.
And the drop ship is another kind of an interesting model too, especially large ticket drop ship. And there's been a lot of people creating their own, I'd say even like mini malls or mini marketplaces of product in a certain niche too, which is quite interesting too. So I'll put some things in the show notes about this because I think there's another opportunity out there for those that really want to expand your product mix, or in your vertical and you don't really want to carry the product, you want to test it out in a different market. There is some great software that will allow you to align yourself with other maybe non-competitive products. Let's say you sell shoes, but you want to start selling socks. There's an opportunity right now with Shopify to be able to have a simple app connected to your store. And then this way you can choose some partners to work with and literally drag and drop their products onto your store. And even though the order is created on your site, socks and shoes, for example, the socks show up in the other admin for the partner to fulfill it. So it's so interesting how we're all working together as partnerships, either wholly owned products like your own private label, but also partnerships, which I think is fantastic. Today's supply chain is somewhat unreliable, and shoppers are actively seeking for options to better protect the items that they buy online. Now, our show sponsor, UPS Capital, recently commissioned research which shows that 65% of consumers would be interested in the option to request coverage for specific online orders. Now, with UPS Capital's Insure Shield app for Shopify, it's a new consumer-elected feature that can do exactly that. Consumers can elect to cover their purchases at checkout, and merchants can then make a custom rule to add the insurance in a rare case that the consumer passes on that insurance. This added protection will enhance the customer's trust and confidence in your business. It will improve your conversion rate and your customer experience. And you can now manage your shipping insurance preferences with the ultimate in flexibility. You can change the rules whenever you need to. You can file claims at any time. Now, the Insure Shield app is available now in the Shopify App Store, or you can visit upscapital.com/Shopify app for more information. As a reminder, Insure Shield shipping insurance is offered through UPS Capital Insurance, Inc., and they are a licensed agent. And now back to our episode. I want to pivot a bit over to your marketing playbook because I think a lot of people are like, hey, like what are you guys doing? I mean, that's the big thing. It's like, how can you run over 40 some brands? How do you come up with these ideas of like, hey, this is how much money we're going to give you monthly because we believe or we understand what the upside is of most brands because we have some playbooks and some ways to build and grow and scale a business. So is there anything that you can talk about, maybe any playbooks or anything that's kind of like unique, that's hot right now, that, for those people that maybe they're not quite ready for Open.Store, but they're a DIYer saying, hey, like I want to learn something new today about what others are doing to be successful. So I'd just love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, sure. So one thing I would have to call out is managing a Shopify brand itself is really hard, whether it's
Yeah.
small or big. It's a lot of work. And marketing itself is one of the core challenges for most of the Shopify merchants out there. And imagine running 40 plus brands all at the same time. We have
Yeah.
a really impressive team over here. We have about 40 plus e-commerce and tech operators from companies like Amazon, Google, Walmart, and many other leading tech and D2C companies, but still, it is quite a lot of work. So in terms of the actual playbook, we tend to view it as almost as the intersection of art and science. So, in addition to all the awesome tech operators we have in house, we have actually built up a tech driven solution that basically enables more of a scalable campaign execution or marketing execution, which is really impressive. So, beginning from creative generation, promo generation, storefront management, our world class engineering team basically built up an in house tool that can help us radically improve the actual productivity of every aspect of managing the store. So I think that's fundamentally a big sort of a secret sauce we have here. In terms of more about actionable insights for your listeners in terms of the specific marketing playbook in today's world, there's really essentially three things I would call out. One, I think it's all about managing your margin. So make sure your gross margin is strong enough to a degree where it can afford some strong marketing campaigns. And even if you're doing really well from a marketing standpoint with strong ROAS from Facebook campaigns or Google campaigns, if your product unit economics is broken or you're not making money from the actual product itself, there's never a path forward for you to achieve profitability. So I think that's one thing I would always call out for all the Shopify merchants out there. In business, that's pretty much table stakes. But sometimes after you get so used to the day-to-day grind of running your business, you kind of forget about the importance of margin. So make sure you look at your margin as close as possible. Think about any additional gains that you can achieve from all the product costs or shipping or any of the improvements that you can make. And once you have the strong gross margin, you can begin to scale your marketing campaigns with more serious investments there. So that's one thing. Second thing I would call out is maybe thinking a little bit more strategically about the nature of your business and how customers can be acquired from all the different platforms you have out there. So essentially, when you look at Shopify businesses, it's all across different categories, but essentially two different buckets. The first one is high AOV and low SKU count businesses. This is basically where you justify the high markup off of much lower product costs that you have. But the way you drive purchase from consumers out there for this bucket is reach storytelling. And this is where video ads and all the advertorial or any additional storytelling touch points you have with your consumers would be crucial. But you don't have a lot of SKUs, which is, basically a tiny catalog, but still you have a lot of opportunity with your hero products. So you need to invest quite a lot of time in validating the price point you have for the main products you have. Second bucket is pretty much the opposite, which is low AOV, high SKU count. So this is where a lot of the commoditized Shopify brands compete against each other. Basically, all the drop shippers out there, all the lower price item sellers with huge selection play. And for these brands, the way you run marketing can be slightly different. For these brands, you need to leverage dynamic product ads or catalog ads as much as possible using the product feeds across Meta or Google, and let the platforms do the work in finding the right audience for you using their algo. For these brands, it doesn't really make sense to invest too much money in video-based storytelling because essentially what drives purchases for these brands is either price or the right selection and discovery. And the way you do that is leveraging the awesome algorithm that Meta and Google provide for these products. So I think, based on where you sit between the two buckets, thinking about the right playbook in your acquisition strategy is going to be critical there. And then the third piece, but the most important piece here is the actual on-site conversion optimization. A lot of times, you get so bogged down by the customer acquisition. You think that one awesome creative is all it takes to dramatically improve your performance. But in reality, when you drive a ton of top of funnel traffic to your website, but then your website conversion is less than 1% or less than 0.5% or something, there's no chance you can scalably grow your business. So thinking about all the little details on your landing page or product detail page or even major storefront updates, make sure you have everything it takes to improve your conversion rate every day. Yeah, I think those three would be some of the key tips that I would share with your listeners at this point.
Oh, I love it. This is really good feedback. I wrote a bunch of notes down as you were speaking, and I totally agree on the margin side of it. I think that's kind of one of my slogans. I talk about, profitably growing revenue. Anybody can grow revenue, but you always hear the story about, in Black Friday, Cyber Monday, where, my sales are fantastic. I did $1 million in that month, but you netted like zero or you lost money with $1 million in sales. So it's, at the end of the day, it's about exactly what you said. It's unit economics. It's understanding and actually have a process and a system in place. I'd recommend maybe considering, some kind of a financial tool connected to your Shopify store, like a BeProfit at bprofit.com or .co or even storehero.ai. There's some really good software out there that can really understand, and it connects to Shopify's API. You have cost of goods, you have a cost of shipping, you have like all the proper metrics are in here, and then it gives you some proper analysis. And then all your other costs associated with running the business, just like some fixed costs of just running the business, and then all your advertising costs for paid social and others, putting it all together and saying, really, are we making money? Are we profitable here? Or do I need to adjust my pricing based on what the margin actually is? And I think it's just understanding your financial health. I think you're spot on for that. I agree on the acquisition channels too. I'd also add that, what I'd mentioned before about maybe expanding your product mix in complementary products that you don't have to purchase yourself, using some tools like Caro or Convictional or a few other tools out there that will align yourself with other partners that are non-competitive to you, that you can start selling their stock on your site is another good way of expanding. I'd also add maybe getting involved internationally is, the North American market, as big as it is, there's significantly larger markets in other parts of the world, be through Europe or APAC, even into Canada. You're not selling into Canada yet. Like I always joke with my merchants. I say, if you're not selling into Canada yet, it's like not selling into Florida or California or New York State. Now, do you sell in those states? Yes. Okay. Then why don't you sell into Canada? Because it's so easy now with Shopify Markets now, duty and tax in the cart. It's, it's a seamless checkout. Shop Pay is like the number one accelerated option. And it's so easy just to fulfill orders into Canada. And Canadians will, like me, feel warm and fuzzy that, hey, I know I'm buying from an American company, but duty and tax is in the cart, not getting shocked at the end when, DHL or FedEx shows up and there's this big brokerage and duty bill. That can all happen all within cart. So totally in on that. Margin, acquisition, and CRO. It's a going thing. What you don't test, you can improve. And you should be running tests nonstop, not just button color and pricing. There's a lot of other things that I'm sure your team does is say, how do we improve the overall? And then how do we benchmark ourselves against others in the similar vertical? I think it's all very interesting too.
Yeah, totally. All the crucial things I would have to keep in mind. But yeah, it's some of the fundamental things that you continue to visit again and again as you run your business.
Mm-hmm. So I want to get into a story now because I'm motivated personally when I hear a story about a brand and they went from here to here and how they did it. And so it'd be great if you could, hopefully don't put you on the spot here, but just would like to understand someone who learned about Open Store, got involved with the organization. I'd just like to uncover what motivated them from, I guess, their current process, and then trying to, and then getting involved with Open Store, the Drive program or not. I'd just like to understand What motivated him to want to work with you more than just the time freedom side of it? And then what was the upside? Like what sort of things happened as soon as you took over after 60 days and the cadence with the former founder? I'd just like to understand a little more about the process.
Yeah, sure. More specifically for Open Store Tribe, like I mentioned briefly, since we launched this program a couple of months ago, we've seen an amazing amount of interest and support from the Shopify community so far. We've heard a lot of awesome stories from these founders as they consider this program. Some of them already went through the actual Drive program and they're actually taking a break right now. We're managing their stores pretty well at this point. And one store founder that comes to my mind is this founder was based in France and he was regularly performing all-nighters to respond to his US customer base.
Yeah.
Imagine doing all-nighters
I can.
for that long US customer base, but it's essential to run
Yeah.
the business sustainably, right? Over time, this really impacted his quality of life, and he pretty much reached out after learning about the Drive program. And he's actually considering the Open Store Drive because of our dedicated customer support team based in several time zones and our ability to take over all day-to-day operations like we discussed. And this basically gives him the opportunity to live a normal, healthy lifestyle again while making passive income and maintaining ownership of his store. Like he's one of the founders that just come to my mind for this Drive program. And in terms of the general acquisition offering that we have so far, one good example we have here is this brand called Jack Archer, which is our fastest growing men's fashion brand. We acquired the brand about a year ago. And during that 12-month period, we did a lot of experiments. We introduced new product lines, basically revamped the customer acquisition funnel. We introduced new CRM programs. We built a new iOS app, a lot of collective team efforts in-house. And with that, we actually managed to grow the business more than 3x in less than a year. So that really speaks to the sort of discipline and the amount of attention that we pay to these specific brands and try to grow them. But we're also still learning a lot for a lot of the different brands that we continue to manage. But so far, it's been great to see a lot of these founders actually getting to enjoy their time again, take some break, and move on to start their new businesses in many cases. It's just really rewarding to see them continue to do awesome things with the help of Open Store Tribe or acquisition in general.
Right. Are there any niches of product that maybe would be off limits? The reason I ask is like I have some alcohol brands. I have some regulated market brands, the CBDs, the cannabises of the world, hemp product. Was just curious if there's any philosophical yeses or nos when it comes to alcohol or regulated markets.
Essentially, the door at this point is wide open and we would love to talk to you and then see how the conversation goes. But we would welcome anybody who's interested in learning more about the program.
Okay, lovely. I'd like to understand the future. Obviously, this Drive program was in kind of an alpha or beta mode for a while. It's fully out into the wild now for the last few months, and hence why we're having this podcast. We're really trying to share the opportunity that's even available. I think that's the shocking part right now, is that people just don't know what they don't know, and that's why we're having this conversation today. Because I just, if you're in that position where you're doing, $40,000 a month or more, and you're like, hey, I have other opportunity. I'm an entrepreneur. I have ideas of things that I may want to do. I'm just running out of time. That time freedom, location freedom, all the things that entrepreneurs are dying for. If you're in that position, then, this program sounds like pretty interesting to me. What's the future? Like where do you see things? Because you say you're nonstop iterating and growing and developing both marketing skills and operational skills, tech stack audits. I'm sure you do a lot of things from a marketing and operational standpoint. Where do you believe Open Store is headed now that the Drive program is live?
Yeah, so this year we're really doubling down and making it easy for all the Shopify merchants out there to either sell your store or let us manage the stores for you. And basically coming up with better toolkits to support all these merchants through the Drive program. That's going to be the key priority for us this year. And later this year, we actually try to make it easier to discover the really unique products that we have acquired so far within the Shopify ecosystem and launch a new consumer marketplace that the consumers can enjoy shopping through endless discovery with our products. So we'll share more soon, but I'm really excited about this potential. Basically, just bring this awesome serendipitous discovery from offline to online shopping.
Yeah, this is lovely. So what do you think our next step should be? So, I mean, we've been chatting here for 40 minutes talking about this great program, both what OpenStore does, both from an acquisition side, which there are other players doing that sort of thing, going through that journey of a full exit, which is certainly on the table. But it seems like biggest power right now is I'm not ready yet to sell. However, I want to explore other opportunities or work on my health or do whatever I want to do for the next year and let the OpenStore Drive program take over. What sort of takeaways and kind of, I guess at the end of the day, I want a call to action today and saying, hey, if this resonates with you, you should do this based on what Seijin has discussed today. So I'll kind of pass the torch over to you and say, what do you believe the next steps are for our listeners?
Yeah. For all the Fastlane listeners out there, we decided to provide a limited time exclusive $2,000 bonus to merchants who receive an offer for OpenStore Drive and or acquisition through the open.store /Fastlane landing page.
Okay.
So, we don't do this that often, but really appreciate the partnership we have with your audience within the Fastlane network. So open.store /Fastlane, check out the programs, see if you're interested. If you get the offer, we will get you that $2,000 bonus and we can take it from there.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for that offer. Thanks, Seijin, for coming on the show today. I had, like I said, some prepared questions, so I had an idea of kind of where the show was kind of headed, but I'm glad that it kind of went off on some serendipitous chats about marketing and things like that. I think, end of the day, this may or may not be right for you at this exact moment based on your GMV and your complexity and kind of where you're at today, but at least to know that this opportunity is available when you are ready. At the end of the day, it's really about talking to the OpenStore team and just saying, hey, here's my business. Here's what I'm all about today. And yeah, I'd like to explore the opportunity to say, hey, what sort of passive income could I get out of my business? And what does it look like 1 year from now after getting my 12 payments? Do I get to take it back? The answer is yes. Or do I renegotiate? Yes. Or can I sell it wholly to OpenStore? The answer is likely yes to that too. So it looks like you're giving a lot of opportunity to founders to at least explore that, hey, this is available more than just exits. It's kind of it's almost like a joint venture for a year that you work together and they make passive income. So this is great. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. And, I always make this comment at the end of my show, but Shopify really is on a mission to make commerce better for everyone. And I kind of argue that OpenStore is actually on a very similar mission right now, really to want to help brands. You're there to improve efficiencies for them. You're there to grow revenue for them. It's a great partnership. So I just want to thank you for coming on the show. Thanks for hustling to get this thing recorded today. And I wish you tremendous success with this Drive program.
Well, thanks for having me again. This was a fun chat. And if any of you among the listeners have any questions about OpenStore or Shopify stores in general, feel free to reach out. Seijin at open.store, that's my email. Or, make the application open.store /Fastlane and you'll get that awesome opportunity. So thanks again for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. So your email is SEIJIN at open.store.
Correct. SEIJIN at open.store.
Beautiful. All right. Well, have yourself a great afternoon. And thanks for coming on the show.
You too. Bye.
Well, that's it for today's episode. I'd like to thank you personally for being a loyal listener of E-commerce Fastlane. It's my hope that this podcast is offering you a ton of value through growth strategies, tactics, and exclusive insider tips on the best Shopify apps and marketing platforms, all with my personal goal to help you build, manage, grow, and scale a successful and thriving company powered by Shopify. Thanks for investing some time today and listening to the show. I'm so proud and excited that you have a growth mindset and are a constant learner. I truly appreciate you and your entrepreneurial journey. Enjoy the rest of the week and keep thriving with Shopify.